Viewer discretion is advised with this little vlog. This is going to be the hardest video I think I'm going to make, but I do the hard thing first and then it all gets easier, eh? So I want to talk about a male mental health issue on this little chat. So I'm going to use myself as a reference point, as an example, and I'll tell you my story and you may relate to it, or you may know somebody in your family that has these same issues, and issues that affect not only that male but also the people around them. And you can guess that I'm probably going to talk about unprovoked anger and unwarranted violence that some guys seem to carry with them. It can be very alienating and very destructive in their personal relationships and in their workplace as well. As well as the anger issues, I also suffered from anxiety, low self-esteem, always shielded my emotions. There was even a point in my life where I put a loaded in my mouth with my toe on something that's never stopped me getting a job or a partner, but it has probably affected those relationships from reaching their full potential. It's only in recent times that I've been able to stand back and sort of look at this problem from a third person point of view. Probably my late 40s I was able to examine it and take responsibility for it. It's a trauma, it's a mental health issue, I believe, that results from a trauma that a lot of guys have had in their life, and it's a result of that trauma. For me, I came from what could be deemed a fairly stable family. We did have a divorce, and my parents had a divorce when I was older, but my childhood was quite good. But I was never able to bond with my mother. I had a terrible relationship with my mother. So when I hear of boys that have good relationships with their mothers, I am a little bit sad that mine wasn't like that. When I look back on this issue, for me, it's something that I've always had. I can go back as far as primary school, and I can see occasions all the way from that point up till 48, I guess, 47, late 40s, I guess. And I guess that's got something to do with testosterone dropping off. But I can see all the way through that part of my life that I was carrying that with me. It wasn't just as an adult, it was also as a child. And so it probably went back before primary school, probably having tantrums. But I can't remember that far back clearly. And so for me, it's never been such a problem that it's put me in jail, but at times when I look back, it probably should have. So where does this come from? This mental health issue that a lot of us guys seem to carry with us. I've been looking at that a lot in depth, trying to find that point in my life. That was that moment of trauma that broke that bond with my mother and caused me to continually alienate people as I went through the rest of my life. I'm just going to take a moment to read you something. So this is from the website Doctors Opposing Circumcision. The psychological effects of circumcision on the child and the man he will become are often overlooked harm of the practice with serious implications for mental health, emotional and rational well-being, and the health of society. Evidence indicates that the ability to learn and remember is present from before birth, and that newborn infants have fully functioning pain pathways. Therefore, one would expect to find physiological effects associated with genital cutting of newborns. Changes in infant-maternal interaction have been observed after circumcision, including disrupted feeding in the first few days after birth and a weaker attachment between mother and infant. So the parallels for me in this article are just uncanny. In the first few months after birth, circumcision reduced the duration of breastfeeding. The American Academy of Pediatrics Task Force on Circumcision noted behavioural changes resulting from circumcision in their report. The behaviour of nearly 90% of circumcised infants has been found to be significantly changed after circumcision. Differences in sleep patterns and more irritability, both signs of stress, have been observed among circumcised infants. Newborn circumcision has also been associated with sudden infant death syndrome, hypothesized to be the result of the neonate's regulatory system. So, as little babies, we imprint on the world. If we're getting this happen to us as men, boys, babies, at such a young age, how are we carrying this into our future? I'll go on. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a normal response to an event in which a person's physical integrity has been threatened or violated. Forced genital cutting is a direct experience of sexual violence. It so fulfills the criteria as a psychogenic cause for PTSD. Taddeo et al. Studied the behaviour of babies at first vaccination. They found that circumcised boys have a much stronger reaction to the pain of vaccination than do girls and intact non-circumcised boys, which the authors suggest is an infant analogue of PTSD. Other authors have also reported PTSD in circumcised males. Reinhardt reported on 4 cases of PTSD connected with neonatal circumcision in middle-aged men that he encountered in his psychiatric practice. Ramis and Boyle reported PTSD in 70% of Filipino boys who experienced ritual circumcision and 51% of Filipino boys who experienced medical circumcision. Cancer Fur tested young boys before and after ritual circumcision and reported that these children had a tendency to seek safety afterwards through emotional withdrawal. Based on relevant literature, clinical experience, and statements from circumcised men, Goldman suggests that reduced emotional expression is a primary potential long-term psychological effect of circumcision. A subsequent study found that circumcised men had significant difficulty identifying and expressing feelings compared to intact men. A large Danish study found that circumcised boys may have a greater risk of developing autism spectrum disorder before age 10 and a higher risk of infantile autism before age 5. Circumcised boys were also more likely to develop hyperactivity disorder, while casually autism is considered to be a multifactorial disorder. The link with circumcision may in part explain why the incidence of autism is almost 5 times more common in boys and girls in the United States. Hyperactivity disorder is about 3 times more common in boys and girls. A recent qualitative review of social media posts related to circumcision dissatisfaction clearly demonstrated that some men are experiencing a complex constellation of negative psychological, physical, and sexual associations that lead to significant emotional distress directed both internally and externally. Based on growing reports from circumcised men, other potential long-term psychological effects of circumcision include excessive or inappropriate anger, depression, anxiety, shame, shyness, fear, powerlessness, distrust, feelings of violation, low self-esteem, disturbances in self-image and body images, disturbances in relationships with parents and or doctors, and decreased ability for emotional intimacy. I mean, that's just my personal experience the whole time. Yeah, I won't go on. So, doctorsopposingcircumcision.org if you feel that you can relate to any of that stuff. So, where does that leave us now? I guess if it doesn't leave you anywhere if you're not related to it, but if you felt a connection there at all, if you can feel any of those experiences might result from it, then yeah, then perhaps it's a way to move forward on this for you. It certainly was for me. If you're an expectant parent with a little boy on the way, then I would implore you to please consider that before you circumcise the young chap. As humans, we tend to be a little bit monkey see, monkey do. So if we have evil inflicted upon us, we tend to inflict it upon others. So if we can break this cycle of harm that we seem to be doing, and I know that a lot of religions do it, and it's done because people believe that it's cleaner, but it's not necessarily. Yeah, I don't know what more I can say on that, to be honest. It's a very emotive subject. So thanks for watching. I hope that may have shed some light on some things for you. Over and out.